This is an unexpected surprise and pleasure. I actually, this is my office right here, if anyone, so I was just kind of walking through, and so glad to see so many of you here. Larry asked me if I would say a few words. This remarkable chamber, this very historic chamber, this is the second oldest operating capitol in the country. And this is the House of the General Assembly, and it is affectionately referred to as the People's House. It is your house. This is your home. And when I listen to Joseph speak, it gives me great pride, because when I hear young people, any individual, having the opportunity to achieve their dreams, it is those dreams that are the mission of this house. This house is an idea-based body. It is an idea-based body to find solutions to problems that our residents struggle with. It is a place where people come for great debate around solutions to problems that have plagued our state for years, problems that have come recently, problems that have come by happenstance or tragedy, but problems nonetheless that affect your lives. And it is a place where those ideas become reality, and hopefully they make the lives of our citizens better. County colleges are a part of those ideas. I think sometimes we take for granted the role that county colleges have played in this state. For me, the People's House represents the views of so many different people and where they come from in different walks of life. We literally, and you are sitting in seats that public education teachers, school administrators, hospital administrators, dentists, supermarket owners, funeral directors, lawyers, professors, people from all walks of life come and serve in this house. And they have been benefited by their life experience and the education that they were provided to serve here, to sit here, and to represent you. For me, one of the great role models of my life, and the reason why I've been so privileged to sit here, was the role that my mother played in my life. She was singularly the greatest role model that I ever had. We lost her tragically in 1995. She died a tenth of a mile from our home in a car accident on the first snowy day of January of that year. If she would have had a seatbelt on, she'd have walked away from the accident. I tell people that all the time because, one, wear your seatbelt. Two, it was an idea that somebody had that was passed in this law, that it is the law that we wear a seatbelt. My mom was a remarkable individual. She was born in the city of Camden. She graduated from high school at the top of her class. Her father died from cancer when she was 3 years of age, and she was raised by her Italian immigrant grandparents who didn't speak the English language. When she went to kindergarten, her teachers came home the first day of school and said she has to be Americanized. She has to learn how to read and write the English language, and she did. She went home and actually taught her grandparents how to read and write the English language. And long before there was a New Jersey lottery in Camden City up and down Market Street, my great-grandfather would take my mother, and they would walk up and down Market Street, and they would do something called run the numbers. Running the numbers was the New Jersey lottery before there was a New Jersey lottery. But when my mom graduated from high school at the top of her class, in spite of the fact that my grandmother had married a wonderful man when my mom was 14, a man who I am named after, the grandfather that I knew, they were a poor family, and they couldn't afford to send my mother to college. There were no county colleges at that time. My mom desperately wanted to be a teacher, but she couldn't get that certificate. So she went to work for a company in Camden City called American Acceptance Corporation, and she taught young men to climb the corporate ladder of success because women were not allowed to set foot upon that ladder. She met a wonderful man who came through the office. He ended up being my father. They got married. They had my brother and I, and my mom stayed home to raise her boys like her parents before her. When I was 9 years old, my mother answered an ad in the newspaper that said, if you care about good government and you want to make a difference, you should run for public office. My mother answered that ad. She ran for office. She became the first woman ever elected mayor of Cherry Hill Township, 12th largest town in the state. She went on, after serving as the mayor of Cherry Hill, to become the first woman ever elected to run county government in Camden County, and became the first woman freeholder director. And she then went on to become the first woman ever elected surrogate in the history of the state of New Jersey. When she passed away, Her name stood for equality and justice and opportunity and dreams, that anybody from any background and any experience could achieve their dreams. When she passed away, the Camden County Hall of Justice was named in her honor. And when people walk through that building, it is a comfort to them to see that name, to know that when you walk into that building, it is a sense of fairness, equality, and justice. But she was a poor woman born in the city of Camden, never went to college, came from an immigrant household, couldn't speak the English language, but could achieve those dreams. To the day she died, her biggest regret was that she couldn't and didn't receive a college education. She had an opportunity after a young congressman by the name of Jim Florio was elected governor. The party came to her and asked her to run for Congress. She said no. My brother had just had a baby. She was a new grandmother. But deep in her heart, in the privacy of our kitchen table where so many conversations took place, she was embarrassed that the public would know this woman who had become an icon in public service and a gifted public speaker, an articulate and a problem solver, that the world would know that she never went to college. When she passed away and the party asked me to run for office, I decided that I would do so to serve in her memory and to keep her memory alive, and to challenge and to ask the questions and to take on the causes that meant so much for her. We have fought for educational funding. We have fought, and I have led the fight to make sure that equal opportunity funding, many of you know as EOF, exists. That when there have been cutbacks to tuition assistance grants, known as TAG, that they continue to exist. And for children today, like Maria Barnaby Greenwald, who graduate in the top of their class, but do not have access or the means to a four-year education yet, that a College Stars program would exist so that every child, regardless of where they come from, regardless of their background, have an opportunity to achieve that dream. I serve and I sit here in the memory of Maria Barnaby Greenwald. And I do so because every day I hope that that opportunity will exist, that some young child in this state will have an opportunity to achieve their dreams and their goals. When I look out at this audience, and Joe, when I hear you speak, I want to thank you for allowing me to live up to the promise that I made in my mother's memory. Thank you very much. God bless all of you. It's an honor to have you in your house.